What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and in today's video, I'm going to look at the electoral college between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, but I'm only going to fill it out using my using polls. So I'm not going to use my opinion. I'm not even going to give a bunch of commentary on whether I think these polls are accurate or not, because I've been seeing in my comments that some people think that it might be a little biased, and I don't use the polls enough. I think I am using logical reasoning to express that I don't think all these polls are accurate right now. But today I'm going to look at the Electoral College only looking at the polls. And I'm going to be using the 538 average of polls. And 538 does not simply look at the average of all the polls for a state that, like Real Clear Politics does. And this isn't to say that 538 is more biased than Real Clear Politics, but what they're doing is they're weighting the polls. And I haven't looked at each individual poll, but basically they rate the pollster and they weight more heavily the pollsters that give a higher grade, and then they will look at the bias of the polls. They'll look back at past uh, they'll look back at past elections. For example, like a poll like Rasmussen has been historically favoring to the Republicans. So what 538 does is they weight that poll on a more evenly basis. And before I get too far in my video, I'm at 920 subscribers right now. In 2 days, I want to try to get to 1,000. I know that is a lot, but I'm going to be double uploading until Wednesday and maybe even Thursday if it takes me to get there, because I'm really trying to work hard to get to this 1,000 goal. And so my second upload for today, thank you to the subscriber Me Too. I'm going to be looking at the polling data, but I'm going to base it off the 2016 polling biases. So the polls were wrong in 2016. So I'm going to weight the polls, the average of the polls that 538 had, to the actual 2016 results, and do a separate electoral map that shows that with kind of the bias of the polls. And then also I'm going to look at this suggestion where he says like take current polling data and make a map where the election will move to the right 1, 2 to 3, 4%, and see kind of where Trump will break even, like how much the polls have to be wrong for him to win. Anyway, I know that was a long introduction, but let's just dive right in. So the first state, I want to move from west to east coast. I'm not doing that for any particular reason, but the state of Nevada. This was a state that um, Hillary Clinton won by 3 points in 2016. So right now, Joe Biden is the leader by 8.7 points. So this would be characterized as a likely dim state. And just to refresh y'all, the safe states, how I do it, some people do it differently, is 12 plus. The likely states for me are 5 to 12. The lean states are 2 to 5, and tilt states are under 2 points. So that's how I'm going to be filling out this map. And there are the potential for maybe some of these states are under 12, for example, like South Carolina, maybe Missouri or Indiana. But I think for the most part, people would agree with the characterizations that I've given these states. So in 2016, Nevada was actually one of the states where it polled in favor of the Republicans. Even though the Democrats won here by more than the polls would suggest. And this happened again in 2018. So I would take the polls with a grain of salt in Nevada, and I would give the poll like maybe even a +1 or +2 advantage to the Democrats in the state like Nevada. So next up, we're going to move to Utah. I expect this to be a pretty heavily Republican state, but in 2016, there was like a little bit. So right now, it's only 7.8. So this is a likely characterization, but Trump is not breaking 50%. I probably do think he will on election day if there's not a third party candidate, but we will see. So next up is Montana. And I feel like states like these don't matter as much as like the actual swing states. So just for the sake of this, so it doesn't really give an average here, but I'm gonna mm, the average of these would be a likely state, even if I think it might be more safe on election day. So Arizona will be interested. Arizona's a state that's polled a lot, so we're gonna get. So 538 has Biden up by 2.4, which is actually pretty interesting. About a month ago, I think Biden had a larger advantage, but we see that the polls are a little bit more splitting. So this is barely a lean Democratic state right now. I expect this to change in the future. But again, I'm not giving my opinion for the people in the comments that think I'm biased. You you can't say anything about this video. So in a state like New Mexico, let's average this out at plus 13. So this would actually be a safe state. I should have filled this out earlier. Colorado. Wow. Holy cow. If it, if this poll even comes close to what it was in 2016, I mean even the best pollsters has had Colorado as just a lean dim state in 2016, and Hillary Clinton won the state by 3 points. So if this shift is anywhere close to what the actual results will be, then I mean that is a dramatic shift. So Texas will be very interesting. A lot of people have been talking about Texas. There have been some polls that have Joe Biden in the lead. I expect Donald Trump will still be. Oh, holy cow! So I think this is pretty recent, actually. July 7th. You see, Donald Trump has been ahead this entire time, except for it transitioned to today or yesterday. I actually have no idea what day it is. So this is a tilt dim state. All right. So let's move on to Minnesota. I expect this to be a likely dim state, but it could even be a safe, depending on where the polls have this. So okay, yeah, we're gonna make this a likely dim state. Just take the average of these. It's that would be like plus 10 for the Democrats. All right, let's move to Iowa. I think Trump is still ahead in Iowa, but just barely. Okay. Um, I'm very surprised about Texas, but hey, I mean, I these polls are a lot smarter than maybe my personal knowledge about politics, but we will see. Wisconsin. So this is a state that Trump narrowly won in 2016, and I do think it's the most favorable Rust Belt state to the Republicans. Right now, it's still a likely dim map. Um, Interesting. So let's move up to Michigan, the state right next to it that has a lot of similarities to it. Same characterization. He's in the polls. Joe Biden's up a little bit more in Michigan. Let's move to Ohio. I expect Ohio to be a lot like Iowa. I've talked about how they're very similar in videos, except Joe Biden's up in Ohio. Will you believe that? I mean, this isn't incredibly surprising because Barack Obama won the state twice, but um, a lot has changed. I feel like in these years, and it's really interesting that Ohio and Arizona are on the same playing field right now because I'd always thought of Arizona as being kind of a lean or tilt Democratic state, but Ohio being more of a lean Republican state. To see them that similar is very interesting to me. So let's go to Florida. Florida, I think, will be the tipping point state in this election. The state that kind of will determine who wins. So whoever wins Florida. So right now, Biden is winning with a likely characterization because it's over 5 points. Um, ooh, this is just not looking good for Trump. Just so Georgia is a tilt characterization. Biden's up by ooh, this happens sometimes. Um, So there's a tilt characterization here. In North Carolina, I expect it to be a lean Democratic. I think Biden's up by about 3 to 4 points here. The same margin that Donald Trump actually won North Carolina, 3.5 points. So yeah, this is a lean Dem state. Wow. I mean, if you are a Donald Trump supporter, this map is really not looking good right now. However, no, I haven't seen any models where it really mimics this. 11.3. So this would be a likely characterization is barely almost safe. Pennsylvania to uh, fill out the Rust Belt says 7.6. A little bit less than Michigan. Closer to Wisconsin. That's not surprising. And then the last, you know what I forgot about was Alaska. That's the most western state. Wow, so +3. I mean, that's really the only poll they have out. With Biden +5. Yeah, so this is just going to be a lean Republican state. New Hampshire's next, and then Maine, and then we will be done. So, and if y'all haven't just checked the polls recently, hopefully this can be a good refresher. I know some of y'all might not trust the 538 polls and their weighting system, but looking at the media at large in 2016, a lot other more like other models and pollsters were a lot more wrong than 538. I mean, 538 obviously had predicted Hillary Clinton to win, but they gave Donald Trump a better chance than a lot of people in the media. So I do think that gives 538 some credibility. So wow, so this is the map as we see it right now. If we just look at the polls, this is kind of the doomsday scenario for Republicans. If this scenario happens, then I do think that the Republicans will lose the Senate. I mean, really, they only need to lose like seats in North Carolina, Maine, Arizona, and Colorado, which is very likely. That just puts the Republicans on 50. And then, I mean, if states like Iowa, Georgia, or Texas are in play, even Montana, then the Republicans will be in trouble. I mean, in modern politics, I think it'll be very, very, very hard for any candidate to get above 400 electoral votes. I literally think impossible for a Republican unless they can dramatically change their platform just because of how the country is right now. But I mean, this does not look good for Donald Trump. And although the polls were off in 2016, I mean, the polls were not this bad for Donald Trump in 2016. I might do a separate video where I talk about where the polls were. We still see in 2016 Arizona leans to the Republicans, Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, Ohio, and Iowa. So the fact that these states are all flipped right now is a bad sign for Donald Trump. Just for all the people in the comments that were saying I don't look at polls enough, I've looked at polls this entire video. Let me give 30 seconds of my opinion. I think Texas, Georgia, Ohio will stay to the Donald Trump will win, and no one has models out right now that has it this dramatic of a Biden victory. I mean, no one is predicting Biden to win over 400 electoral votes right now. I mean, if it gets worse for Trump, which is presumably that's possible. But I think most people expect Donald Trump to improve in the polls. Once there's like more negative ads against Biden and kind of this contrast, I do expect it to improve. But Donald Trump has a lot of work to do. He's gonna have to improve a lot. The fact that Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin are all likely Republicans or likely Democratic states is a huge red flag for the Trump campaign. So they really need to pick it up. So, all right, guys, I really hope you like my video. I'm at 920 subscribers, 80 more by Wednesday or Thursday. Let's do it and be on the lookout for another video later today. Thank you all.